Hey, what's up, everyone? And welcome to episode 1 of the AI Driven Business Podcast. I am your host as well as my co host here. My name is Jimmy Smith. Really excited to be here with you. And my co host is Greg Flint. How's it going, Greg?
It's good, man. It's good. It's good to be here.
Yeah, super exciting. And really, this is the first episode of the AI Driven Business Podcast. And so, our goal today is to tell you about the podcast, what it's about, what it is that we plan on doing moving forward, and really even how this whole project came to be. So, I'm actually pretty excited for it because there's been a lot of twists and turns in this project between you and me, Greg.
There have.
And we've got a YouTube channel for anybody that doesn't know. If you are listening to this on some podcast player, you can head over to YouTube at AI Driven Business, and you can find our whole channel, kind of the first iteration of this podcast, and then now the actual podcast that we are creating today. So really excited for that. Go check us out over there, and LinkedIn and other channels as well. But Greg, so excited. How are you feeling about it today?
I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
This has had so many twists and turns, and I feel as though we have kind of honored those nudges down the right path. And I feel like this is yet another iteration of us honoring those nudges. So I'm excited to see how this continues to unfold in front of us. And I'm excited to learn and to help others learn about AI and what they can do with AI to make their business better, more profitable, whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Before we get into some of the podcast stuff too, or at least the introductions of who we are, because we should probably do that here for anybody that doesn't know
Yeah.
or is following us, that might be brand new listeners. I do want to give a kind of a quick synopsis of before we really dive into some more of the details of what this podcast is about. So if you're listening to the first couple minutes of this podcast, you don't know who we are, probably don't care if the podcast doesn't apply to you. So this podcast is going to be dedicated to businesses or even just people that are looking to start side hustles or looking to use AI or artificial intelligence for practical applications in their lives. And from a business perspective, Greg and I have done pretty long project. We're kind of both in the space, so to speak, that we like to use it on a daily basis, artificial intelligence and different programs, whether it's ChatGPT or Bard or other things that exist currently. And we want to bring to you updates that are happening because the world of AI is changing each and every day. And so we are going to do a podcast. We're aiming for a few times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, and give you the updates on some of the new things coming out within artificial intelligence and how you can apply them and use them in your business, in your side hustle, in your practical day-to-day life. And so that's just the general synopsis of the podcast. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into it here after we give our introductions. But really excited to do that. And Greg, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself first, and then we can get back to me in a second.
Awesome. Yeah. Greg Flint. I'm the CEO of 413 Group, 413.co, as you maybe can see if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're listening along, that's, FOUR13.co. So 413 is a digital agency focusing primarily on e-commerce implementations, integrations, really anything having to do with e-commerce. And that's one of the variety of businesses that I am have some responsibility over. Jimmy and I have businesses together as well, which is kind of what led us down this path. And I'll use that as the segue to hand it to you.
Yeah. So we do have a few different businesses together. For me, I have been running an Amazon business since 2015, and over the last 8 years at this point, I guess it's 7.5 at this time. A lot of different things have come about, whether it's from new businesses with Greg, a software company, or it's even most recently, I acquired a business called the Business Building Legends Community, which trains e-commerce sellers to grow and scale their businesses. Or if you are brand new, it also trains people to get into Amazon and selling on Amazon through arbitrage and wholesale, not necessarily through private label. But during this time, time. I've got other businesses as well, so I don't need to go into each and every single one. But I guess the main driver for us doing this podcast together, and really this project that we've been on for the last couple months, is that we both operate businesses. We both operate multiple businesses, and we both are looking for different ways to be more productive. And with I guess, the larger interest in artificial intelligence over the last 6 or 7 months, since about October, November of 2022 is whenever it really exploded onto the scene, we both wanted to get on and start using AI. And then we had people asking us about it. And then we decided to create a project and all of these things. So that is a little bit about us and why we're here and how we're going to be moving forward. We both run businesses, which is important, right? Because if we're doing a podcast that's AI driven business, you kind of need to know that we also run businesses, and we are both nerds. So we like to dive into things like artificial intelligence and other topics that can help us be more productive, help us to move forward in our businesses, grow, scale, etc. So that is a little bit about both of us. Greg, what are your thoughts on, I guess, you heard me discuss what this podcast is about, just a general overview. Is there anything specific that you'd like to touch on for what you see as this project being about, or this podcast being about?
Yeah. And as we've talked about, the idea of AI, there are people that fall on many sides of the spectrum of AI. There are people who anything that has to do with AI is awesome and amazing, and they love it, and it's going to change the world. And then there are people on the other side of the spectrum that anything that has to do with AI is stupid, and it's overblown, and it's generally bad. And so the truth, as with so many things in life, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And so for us, we want to take the pragmatic approach. We're not interested in the AI fanboy or the AI haters. We want to find the things that actually work, that you can use in your business to drive top line revenue growth, drive bottom line profitability, whatever those things are. We want to bring those to a community of people so that they can learn and grow, and they don't have to spend the time, because they're probably not nerds like you and I. They don't have to spend the time going through all of those things to get to the small percentage that actually add value. So that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. I think that is the initial goal of what we're doing, is to make sure that we are looking at AI from that perspective. And as we saw, and I get into kind of our recap of how really started this thing, or what really started this thing. But as we saw with our last project, it can grow and change and evolve. And so we might start this out as, hey, let's talk about news and updates and how to use it in business. But it could evolve into interviews, and it could evolve into other things as well, trainings and whatnot. And so before I do get to kind of the recap of what started all of this, and I would call it season 0, because this is season 1 of the podcast.
There you go.
But before we get into that, I do want you to know, I mentioned the YouTube channel earlier. We actually record these live on YouTube. So we're not currently doing this like a typical podcast where, they pre-record it, they edit it, all of those things. We have businesses, we have limited amounts of time. And so we are just doing it live. We're going to take the audio, put it in a podcast. We might edit it if there's a need for it on some things. But if you want to join us live, we post those ahead of time. If you want to join, you can comment. We can see those comments and interact with you as well. Or you can just interact with our YouTube channel after the fact, because it's all recorded and posted on there too. So I just wanted to give that little note. So in terms of what started this project, about 2 months ago or so, maybe 3 months at this point, Greg, I know that we did 29 episodes of our daily live, but it felt like we were talking about this for longer than a month and a half or so.
I think it was.
Okay. So what we did is we came up with this idea to start and create a business utilizing artificial intelligence only, in terms of, hey, ChatGPT, we've got this much money. These are our experiences. Give us some suggestions for businesses we could start. And we went through a lot of different iterations of that. We started with a drop shipping business. Then we decided there was a lot of back-end customer management that AI couldn't handle by itself. And then we switched to an affiliate blog business as well. And then we decided, well, we don't know anything about drip irrigation supplies, even though it was a great business model. If you want to go watch all those lives, you can, by the way. I think that one would have worked, but we didn't know anything about the content that ChatGPT was giving to us. And so we felt a little weird about posting blogs that were promoting products that we knew nothing about, even though I believe it could have worked. And so then we pivoted to talking about how we are using AI in our businesses, and decided instead of doing that on a daily basis, let's just come out, because there's so many different things changing all the time, whether it's ChatGPT or
Absolutely.
things. Let's come out and do a podcast with these updates and how we are currently using them in our business. Instead of a daily live, let's just do kind of a 2 to 3 day a week thing, where we can give you content revolving around the new things that are out, new things that you can implement into your business. So if you want to go back and see season 0, you can. There were a lot of cool things that we did, like artificial intelligence did the whole summary of each video each prior video did a summary of the whole project. It was really cool to see that work really well. But yeah, that's kind of.
I was actually going to say that was a beautiful summary that even ChatGPT I think would be proud of, Jimmy.
Exactly.
So well done. Well
yeah,
done.
Exactly. I appreciate that. I should have had ChatGPT probably write that whole thing for us.
It probably would have been easier.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was the recap of our I guess, phase 0, so to speak. And now we are in season 1. I don't know if we're going to have multiple seasons, or if this is just going to be a long season that never ends, or doesn't end for a long time. But we are planning to move forward in this direction, because Greg and I try to stay up to date as best we can on this AI stuff, and it's very difficult to do. And so it will at least keep us accountable to making sure that we, for our own businesses, are staying up to date with things. But then it also provides value to all of you. This is what we are interested in. So Greg, is there anything that I missed there? Anything that you think we should add in?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. Perfect. Well, yeah, that would cover then what started this project. We've already discussed what this new project, this podcast, is going to be. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we wanted to talk about on episode 1. Greg, am I missing something?
No, I think you nailed it. It's really a bit of a pivot, but definitely still focused on AI, and maybe a little less watching you and I typing into ChatGPT and us commenting on their responses, and more topical discussions on things going on that we think can truly add value.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Well, that is, I think, a perfect end to episode 1. We discussed everything that we've done. We've discussed everything we're going to do, and we're excited to come back with episode 2. By the time that this all becomes live on a podcast network, whenever we start uploading it to those podcasting networks, there should be multiple episodes after this first one. So we're going to try to upload 3 or 4, maybe 5 at a time for that first batch. So if you're listening or watching episode 1, there should be multiple more on the podcast platform. If you would leave us a review, let us know your thoughts on the podcast. That is something that will help drive engagement and growth on the podcast platform, whether it's Apple or Spotify or otherwise. So if you could leave us a 5-star review, I'd really appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts, and we will be back with you with another episode as soon as we possibly can. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Greg, and we will see you on the next episode.